around 5,000 years ago, on the sun-baked plains of ancient Iraq, a people were already fighting wars, carving their victories into stone, and they did something nobody had ever done before. They were the first to harness an animal for war. They built the world's first cities, wrote the world's first records, and introduced something to warfare that would change the battlefield forever. So who were they, and what did they unleash? And why does it still matter today? The Sumerians, 3500 to 2300 BCE, the proto-cavalry of the ancient world. Sumer is the earliest known civilization, located in the historical region of southern Mesopotamia, in what is now south-central Iraq. These people raised walls where there had been none, cut canals through the dust, and gave their gods houses of brick and stone that climbed toward the sky. There's a fault line running through early human history that doesn't get talked about enough. The difference in two mindsets between a people who followed the land and a people who bent it to their will. A nomad's horizon is the next season, the next pasture. You take what is there and you move on. But a settler's horizon is completely different. It's the harvest they won't eat for 6 months, the tree they planted for their kids, the wall that'll still be standing when they're gone. That shift in how you relate to time changes everything. Suddenly you're not just surviving, you're investing in the land, in knowledge, and in each other. And from that one decision to stop and stay, you get surplus, specialization, law, writing, and eventually the whole apparatus we call civilization. The Sumerians weren't just the first city builders, they were the first people to truly bet on the future. Farming the same land year after year, storing grain and producing surplus on a scale never seen before, meant that more people than ever could be something other than hunters or herders. It allowed people to diversify, and so specialists emerged. Potters, metalworkers, priests, soldiers, and administrators. Skills that took years to develop and needed a fixed place to practice them. They wrote, not for poetry, but for accounting. When you have grain stores, trade, taxes, and debts, you need to record things. Memory isn't enough anymore. The Sumerians gave us the first written records on Earth. Essentially, the world's first spreadsheets. They counted, governed, and made laws. They built legal codes, courts, and organised religion to hold it all together. And they stacked generations of knowledge on top of each other in a way nomadic life never could. When much of humanity still moved with the seasons, the Sumerians stayed. And from that stillness they built the foundations of what we now call civilization. And it was here in this ancient urban world that we see one of the first attempts to bring an equid onto the battlefield. Not with someone mounted upon it, not yet, but harnessed for war. For nearly 2,000 years, the Sumerian city-states fought each other almost constantly over land, water, and power. Out of that pressure cooker comes some of the earliest military technologies that we can trace. Sumerian cities ringed themselves with mud brick walls, and when wars weren't fought in the open, they were fought at the gates. Sieges that would grind on until one city broke and another endured. By around 2450 BCE, war was already being recorded in stone. The Stele of the Vultures, a carved limestone monument commissioned by the Sumerian city-state of Lagash, shows one of the earliest visual records of organised warfare in human history. On it, King Eannatum leads his army against the rival city of Umar. Ranks of infantry advancing in tight formation, shields locked, spears levelled, and banners raised. In other panels, defeated enemies lie broken beneath circling vultures. Alongside them rolled Sumerian war carts, heavy crude machines pulled by onagers, wild asses, cousins to the horse, bred for strength but not for speed, and by all accounts, absolutely furious about this whole arrangement. These were not the sleek chariots of later ages. These were heavy, clumsy things, solid wheels and woven frames, lurching across the battlefield at a walking pace, with men clutching axes and spears inside them. The horse had not yet arrived, but the idea had. Animal power had entered the battlefield, and it would never leave. In the next episode, we will visit the world's first empire. One man born to nothing and set adrift on a river in his bassinet, who would then go on to conquer every city-state in Mesopotamia and force the ancient world to answer to a single name for the first time in history. And it was his people who first began to see what the strange new animal could really do on the battlefield. If you're not subscribed yet, hit that button and I will see you there.